Hey guys, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Service Without Excuses podcast. I'm glad to be with you. I'm just by me, myself, and I tonight and talking about an important subject. But before that, I want to talk about our sponsor, Sotellus.com. They are the Cadillac of review management software from my standpoint. We use them in our service-based company, New Jersey's Best, and we can't thank them enough. A lot of people love the video ability to capture the customer's emotions at the time they're purchasing, which is huge. I could tell you, huge to have that feedback. And the fact that it distributes it to your website, it distributes it to your different pages and gets out all over the different forums. But the latter is the one that really impresses me, is having that feedback from the customers being split and gone across all the platforms across the board. So that's really huge for us as a business, a service-based business. Keeps us coming in. I could tell you pretty much on a weekly basis, we get customers that tend to hire us based on our reviews, which is huge. I mean, you can't beat that. They use the feedback and words from other people, customers they probably don't know and probably most likely will never actually meet, and they use them to make their decision when it comes to hiring a business. So you can't really beat that. And that's some of the things that Sotellus really does. I love the fact that their information gets transferred across the board to all the platforms. And the end of the day, all that matters to me is my phones ring with people saying, I saw your reviews, people that go for online consultations. We talk to them and we book it through that. So they're awesome. I love them. Family owned business, family run. They do pick up their phone. They do get back to you quickly. It's not some computer bot that just doesn't talk to you. So they're awesome. I mean, I can't say enough about them and really enjoy partnering with them with this podcast, the Service Without Excuses podcast. Tonight, we're going to talk about something you probably know about running a business, but you probably are not aware of where I'm going to go with it in our business. And it's a little bit different than what you think. Now, every business has to understand the financials of your business. If you don't understand your financials of your business, you should learn it or have somebody in your fold that can really help you out with it. It's crucial. You have to understand how to read statements and financial things on a consistent basis. For example, when I ran a national franchise, a large national franchise, franchisee, I should say, they were doing some pretty good numbers. You're a seven-figure multiple business. And we needed to understand on a daily basis where our financials were. It was crucial to make decisions of where we're going to spend our marketing dollars, how many people were going to be where, out in the trucks, who we were going to put in the trucks in order to make those split decisions. We had particular people that would perform better in the field than others, and we needed to make sure that our technicians were in the best places they could. And the IE to that is they were the best opportunity. So here's an example. As a technician on a truck, I needed to make sure that I made a certain amount of money every single time I was in the truck, but I needed to make sure I could justify what I was selling the customer. So an example is I might have 3 or 4 jobs a day, usually 3. When some of my other colleagues in the business might do 5 or 6. And the big difference between the two is I would have no problem mentioning products or services that could benefit the customers. I would never sell somebody something they didn't need, that wouldn't benefit them. It wouldn't help them at all. At the end of the day, I was very successful at doing that by bringing products and services up to potential customers. Actually, if they were customers, potential clients, I should say, when wanting to use our service and purchase from it. So I was able to understand, interpret the financials of having the right people at the right place and deploying the right information at the right time. When you're in your business, you need to understand the financials of your business. That's important. You can't be in business if you don't understand numbers. And if you don't, again, get an education from somebody. You don't need to hire a coach or consultant to do that. You can learn the financial information online. You can go to free classes most of the time now with COVID going on and the craziness we're in. Most of the time, your local community colleges will do courses to next to nothing or nothing at all to teach you a little bit about financial education, to teach you the differences of what statements are, to understand what different things mean in a business, as I call it, the chunka theory. I've heard it from I forget who the gentleman was, but it was the chunka coming in has to be more than the chunka going out, and it is the theory behind that you have to know what's coming in and what's going out, what's a debit, what's a credit, those simple things. Now, if you understand what they are, great. If you're not quite sure what they are, you need to learn that. But what I'm going to talk about tonight in this podcast is related to that, but not related because I'm not a financial expert. I'm not going to sit there and analyze a bunch of numbers. And you probably don't want to listen to me talk about a bunch of numbers. It's kind of boring, but it's essential. So, in that retrospect, I would say, you need to know your financial numbers. What we're going to talk about today is your business P&L. Now, again, you may think a business P&L, oh, great, I'm going to look at a financial statement. I happen to have my financial statement here. You cannot read the numbers up close, but they are very detailed. This is a one-page financial statement. Now, it starts out with 3 or 4 pages and turns into one because it's got real numbers onto it. And it talks about things like services, material, products, adjustments, auto insurance, regular insurance, automobile insurance, whatever purchases are made, capitalized, depreciated purchases, equipment, all things I'm not going to get into because that's a whole different 2-hour podcast to even talk about that. And I don't want to. Number one, it bores me. Number two, you probably don't want to hear it. Number three, I'm not qualified to do it. I can get somebody on one of these podcast episodes that is much more qualified, but they have all these things broken down into pieces. And these talk about different things you need to understand about the financials in your business, what things are and what they're coming out. This P&L is pretty much for a month. It's not a year. It just happens to be where we're at. Actually, I think it's a quarter. I apologize. It talks about our 1 quarter of the year. And it breaks down every different variable. In your business, you have to understand the pizza pie theory. We all know it. We all talk about it. You have nothing but a pizza pie in your business. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're getting a chance to see it. Pizza pie has slices. Most of the time, they have 8 slices, but they can have 10, they can have 24, they can have how many slices you want. You can really make them small if you need to. But every piece of that pie has a different principle that is related. So in a financial statement, if you're a service-based business, probably most likely that your biggest expense is going to be your employees, your technicians, your labor costs. That there are a lot of other variables to it, but that that's going to be a big, big variable to a service business. If you're in the restaurant business, that cost of goods sold or COGS. COGS can be a bunch of different things, but let's just stick to the restaurant business for right now. The cost of goods sold can be the cost of serving a meal. So, for example, if you're in the restaurant business and you cook a steak, a really good prime steak, a good prime rib, anything that's high end, probably the overhead is tremendous and the markup is minimal. If you're selling somebody something like shrimp cocktail, it's probably a little bit more of a markup, but still not anything great. If you're selling them like a deep fried fish, shrimp, probably a tremendous markup on it. Most bars and restaurants in New Jersey, where I'm from, make their money off of alcohol and off of certain other things. Burgers are an area where they can make some profit because if they do enough in volume, they're doing it. If they're just selling a couple burgers, it's probably tough to turn a profit, but they're probably selling a lot more burgers than that. We have a place in Point Pleasant called Frankie's. I love Point Pleasant. It's my favorite town, and I live just outside of it. Favorite town in the country, period. It has a lot of good restaurants, a lot of different selections. And you have Spanos, which I've talked about, which is my favorite Italian restaurant, which actually we're going to Thursday for my stepdaughter's 25th birthday, taking her out there. And I love Spanos for many reasons, but the experience is the biggest one. And then there's another place called Frankie's down the road from there. Frankie's is a hamburger joint where they actually, have a bar in the middle and they have the grill right in the middle that's showing the burgers being made and cooked, no matter if it's turkey burger, which I happen to be my favorite there, or another burger, or you want a steak burger. But one of the things that really makes them unique is they have this horseradish sauce. And the horseradish sauce, if I say that correctly, is incredible. And it's homemade, it's refrigerated, it's right there, it's cold. You get this nice hot cheeseburger that's incredibly well cooked with whatever they put together in it with this creamy horseradish sauce. And even if you're not a fan, you will be a fan when you get done with this. It's something they do that's unique. This all relates to what I'm talking about today, the business P&L. Business P&L when it comes to your, not financial, but your offerings and what you're doing. What makes you unique about your business, what makes something, different about your business. We always say, and I said it the other day in a little bit of a Sunday morning minutes that I put out, that nothing is new under the sun. If you think your business is that unique, chances are it's probably not. We all, in my business, we clean carpet. Some of us clean carpet a little bit better than others. We like to take pride in what we're doing, and that's good and that's sufficient. But I'm pretty sure my colleagues, I have a lot of good colleagues in my area that do an excellent job when it comes to cleaning. people's furnishings and carpets and tile and grout. We all work together, and I'm generally friends with a number of them, and I'm very glad for it because I like the guys that do the great work. I like the guys that do the great jobs in the house. You may think, what are you crazy, Rob? That's your competition. You shouldn't like them. You should hate them. They're doing this. No. What it does is it raises the bar with everybody. It makes everybody's standards come up. And if it doesn't, it just flushes out whatever that, I'll call it crap for better words. It flushes it out. It flushes those out that don't care to do a quality job, those that don't care to take care of the customers and clients. Are paying them very good money to do the job, that they're hiring them for. An example, I had a customer today. Very nice, high-end home, regular customer of mine. She belongs to a local community here, and she is very particular about what we do in the house. Now, she's had me in there 3 times so far. She had somebody else until that gentleman retired, and I was just very lucky to get the opportunity. She's excellent to work for. I truly enjoy it. In fact, I'm doing her son's house this upcoming week before Passover, which is a big, big deal in this community. And one of the things that I really like about it is she wants just about as close to perfection as she can. She wants great results. She has us into her house at least twice a year, maybe 3 times, depending on what it is. And she's willing to pay top dollar, and I mean top dollar for your service. We're talking about excess of $200 an hour, $250 an hour, top end work. And if you're making more than that, great. But you're probably not making it what I'm making for the job. Generally, it's a very good ticket. You're talking about an average on this job of $700. Okay. So it's a very good customer. She's very particular. She has great wood floors. We have to take care of the job. When we do a section, we got to make sure we move things very slowly throughout the house. It's a multi-million-dollar property. We know the expectations have been made by the customer. I need this done. I trust you in my house. We already know you know how to do a great job, but I need you to bring it. I need you to do the job that you said you're going to do, and that I used to get for years by another gentleman that retired. And she said herself, I'm lucky to have found you because I've had a couple other people in the house and they haven't really met my requirements. You, my friend, have your cards on my refrigerator. And I'm not talking about a magnet. She's literally posted my card. So she calls and she refers friends and family, and we're glad for it. But we make sure we can meet her demands. We make sure we can meet the clientele that she's looking for. Now, she could be a person that is spending a lot of money, but is a hard person to work with. She happens not to be. She's very particular. Again, we know we're meeting the requirements of what she's doing. My point of going into this is we have already measured parts of our business P&L. We've already measured what this customer wants. Every customer is different. And if you're in business for any point of time more than 6 months to a year, you understand very, very clearly that every customer and client is different. That's your business P&L, for lack of better words. Something you're offering to them is a piece of the pie. In financials and financial statements, as I have up here on the live video that I'm doing right now, that measures little variables of everything. But these are all offerings, all very important parts of your business. But so are how you treat your customers and clients, and how you understand why they buy from you, how they buy from you. You understand their wants, their likes, and their hates. If hates is a word, if things they hate, I should say. You have to be able to understand why they're buying from you. You have to be able to fully understand why they want to give you the time of day. In my market territory, there are hundreds of competitors. Many of them do a great job. Why do I deserve the opportunity to go into your home or business to do the right job? Well, I'd like to think we're doing something a little bit different. Service without excuses, just so you know, if you haven't done it, is something that was born from a commercial I did years ago. Now, when I say commercial, I'm not talking the commercial in the traditional sense. Service without excuses was born on a virtual hologram video. We had a website up and we wanted to stand out and have something a little bit unique. Standing out is important, and that's part of your business P&L too as well. We did with my sister. We did she came out at a time and helped me out with it. Thank God I feel bad for her. She just kind of got through to the wind, but she was phenomenal. And she came in and did the actual video with me. We walked out across the screen. You open up the website and on low volume, not on high volume, because that would disrupt people if you're trying to watch or see our business at work, which a lot of people were doing back then. They would pop it up. And if it sounded like it was really, really loud like that right in your face, you don't want to hear that. You want to hear something that's more relaxing and calm and talks about the features, yes, but more the benefits. And it would be the two of us walking outside talking about why you should want to hire the company I used to own, Clean Force One at the time. And it was incredible, the response. I could not believe it. But Service Without Excuses was a 3-word by my buddy that said, you have to define what your business is about in 3 words, and you're going to build your entire framework of your business, or now I like to call it the business P&L, around these 3 words. What makes you different? I'm not talking about some phrase, some little catchy thing, whatever that just is meaningless at the end. What really defines you about your business? What 3 words define you about your business? What 3 words make you different? What separates you from everyone else that's out there? What makes you different? And I had to think about this. I'm sitting on the couch. I'll never forget it. And he's giving me a couple bottles of beer and saying, hey, just relax. At this particular time, this is the time you want to relax, think about things, not put a bunch of pressure on your head. You run a sizable company now. Forget about all the people. Forget about all the expenses. Forget about your P&L, your real business financial P&L. Forget about all that. Forget about it completely. Right now, 3 words. What do they mean? What makes you unique? And I said, we deliver. And I said those other words, service without excuses. And he looked at me and said, that's it, flat out. That's what you believe in. That's what your business is. I says, yes. At the end of the day, I want to deliver the service that our customers and clients should expect. And I shouldn't give them an excuse afterwards. There's an old saying, and I've said it before in the podcast, everything before is a reason, everything afterwards is an excuse. We did not want to give excuses to our customers. We did not want to give excuses to people of why we couldn't do something. We wanted to say, this is the reason to purchase from us. This is a reason to give our business the opportunity to deserve your business. But we wanted to make sure whatever we were delivering, we were over delivering on, and making sure we could fulfill our commitments to the customers and clients that decided to spend their hard-earned dollar with us. Well, that was crucial. And I never realized at the time we did that how much it was going to define. And of course, it became the mantra in the book and the podcast and the whole 9 yards. And we're, many, many years later than what it was back then. But it still sets home. And that was the definition of my business P&L from day one. Our business is about service without excuses, not about numbers. Numbers are important, but numbers are numbers. If you lose numbers, you lose money. If you gain numbers, you gain money. And you do need to make money. Again, the chunk of coming in needs to be more than the chunk of coming out. It's not a big financial fiasco of information. It's simple. Okay. We needed to make sure that our business meant something, that service without excuses meant something. And that's where the book was born. And the principles and concepts I've talked about countless times, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of times when it comes to company training, consulting, coaching with the staff. That's one of the things we do different. We don't just coach an entrepreneur. We coach a lot of the staff because they're based on the concepts of service without excuses. Service without excuses has principles to it. All of those principles, which I talked about in the very first podcast I recorded, were simple. They were based on certain things that made and defined success or defined failure. And one of those things I talk about is simple is not always easy, but it's always easy to be simple. You can't overanalyze. Something that's easy is easy, requires no effort, but being simple requires you to really think about what you want and implement it and not worry about whatever it is. Easy requires no effort. Simple means there's not a lot of work to come up with a simple goal. When I discovered Service Without Excuses, that was a simple goal. That was a simple moment of truth, so to speak. Again, in the words of my mentor, one of my mentors, Steve Toburin, a moment of truth. It was truly a moment of definition and a moment of truth when service without excuses was something that was born. Everything in the business P&L is built around service without excuses. Every part of your business, no matter what it is built around something that means your business. There's a mantra, not a motto. Mottos are cheap. Mottos are garbage, to be honest with you. They don't really mean a whole lot of anything. Mottos mean spin. If you don't believe it, make something about your business simple and then build this business P&L around it. Build these variables of what something means around it and what really makes your company, really defines your company successes when it comes down to it. A couple of things I talked about. I just read this article and I want to get this book. Actually, I'm going to order it, but I just read the article Main Street Entrepreneur. It's called, written by Michael Clauser. I think I'm saying his name right. Main Street Entrepreneur. It's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. You may want to look it up, but I'm reading the article. I'm actually going to get the book because as you can see behind me, I've got different books and got my most recent read that I haven't really talked about too much, The Thank You Economy by Gary Vaynerchuk. It's a number of years ago. If you know anything about me, I'm a huge Gary V fan. I am and trying to and want to and will at some point get Gary V on this podcast because he inspires the ever living shit out of me. So, and people should inspire you. Different variables of this piece of pie when it comes to the P&L of your business, not your financial, just your business, is finding a genuine need, why people need your service, why people want to hire you, why people think you are the right fit, and to know you offer a service that people need. Everything could be seen as a commodity. It could be seen as something that is just generic and means has no tangible value to it, nothing that's unique about it. In the carpet cleaning business, again, like I talked about, there's hundreds of competitors in my market. What gives my company the edge above reviews, above feedback, which is very important, above marketing, above SEO marketing, above social media marketing, above reputation, above everything else? Well, I shouldn't say above reputation because actually at the end of the day, reputation means everything. But they have a need to have the right service done. They can get cheaper. They can get less. They can buy less. And there are people that contact us. You just had somebody the other day that said, you match your competitors' coupon prices. And that is just a set of words you probably never want to say to me calling my company. For anybody that might possibly call New Jersey's Best down the road, it's not something you probably want to send to us or call us. I'm not worried about matching competitors' issues because they can't match the workmanship we do. It doesn't make us the best. It just means they can't match us when it comes down to. I've never seen it once in 25 years of doing it. They do something different than us, and that's what they're about. But they can't necessarily match what we are. So when you think to yourself, well, everybody wants the cheapest, everybody wants the lowest, everybody wants the low hanging fruit, they say in marketing terms, or whatever is the least value, it's just not true. Think about this, and this is just one part of it. When you go into a grocery store and you have three products, one is a big brand name, one is a huge brand name, another one is a mid brand you've heard of, you've probably seen their TV ads, whatever it happens to be, and the bottom one is maybe the company brand of the grocery store chain or the Walmart brand or whatever you want to call it. What do people gravitate to? They gravitate to the middle. It doesn't mean people don't buy at the top because plenty of people buy at the top. It means many people, the majority of people decide to buy in the middle. So they're not buying on price because if you're perceived as a commodity, they would automatically buy the cheapest person. Financially, immediately from the financial standpoint, they go and gravitate to the lowest bid. And it's our job to educate our customers and clients that that's not a good decision because you can't get the best job for the lowest price. Nothing good is, or nothing cheap is good. Nothing good is cheap. It's just that old saying. And it's true. You're not going to get a great product cheaply. So we have to train our customers that, and clients in particular, that we offer a better service and we have to deliver upon that based on the previous conversation. So they need to know a genuine need, but they need to know what makes you unique about you. Need to have something that is good. Credible experience he puts on. Credible experience is huge, especially in the business I'm in. So obviously I run a service-based business as well that I own, a multi-truck carpet cleaning and tile and grout cleaning business. But I also run a coaching consulting business and obviously this podcast. It's an entirely separate business, but it's credibility. So I'm going to a trade show coming up here in April. They call the Experience, and I'm actually going to have the gentleman on that runs the Experience tomorrow, actually. So it'll be an awesome interview, and I can't actually wait to do it because I hear Larry's just an amazing person, and every time I talk to one of my guests, I really do learn a ton. So it's more for my benefit to learn from that. But the experience is called just that, the experience. It's a big trade show in this industry, and I'm going to talk more about tomorrow. But the credibility and experience of people that you have, or your customers have with you, is second to none because you're delivering it. If you have credible experience, people believe you're the expert, you're the right decision, they're going to buy from you. If they believe you are the lowest cost solution, then they probably buy that too as well, but they're going to give you a lot more headaches. We used to talk about this when I ran this national franchise. We always discovered, and I knew this in my own business, that the people that spent the least were the hardest to work for. The people that wanted the most out of us paid the least. I didn't want them. In my business, none of my businesses I owned or ran, I ever wanted those customers. When I ran a national franchise, kind of tough. We like to attract better customers, like every business does. But we know as a large chain, you need to put your marketing dollar out there and pray you get a good customer, a good client that wants to spend some money with you. But there's a likelihood that people will not. And I don't necessarily want those people that are going to do that. So the credible experience, if the experience they're having with your business and your service offering or the product you're offering to people is very, very good, you need to make sure that is part of the reason they purchase from you. Again, New Jersey's best people do purchase and pay a little bit more than they're going to pay with, say, a national chain. They're definitely going to be above the national chain, but they're going to get above national service. They're going to get a better job done. And that's part of the credible experience. You need to make sure you have adequate resources. So you're making sure that you have enough things around you, whether that's influence from people that are helping your business, whether that's the right relationship with vendors, whether that's the right relationship with people that can help build your business. Listen, I have a couple of really good vendors that I deal with on a regular basis that are incredible, and I can get them on the phone, and the discussion is, I put in an order for $300, and I spend 3 hours on the phone with them talking about all kinds of stuff, and it's usually related to business and business strategy and what makes you unique. So you got to make sure you maintain those relationships with those adequate sources. They are all part of your business P&L. They're all part of the mapping program of your business. You got to make sure you have the right purchasing customers. Now, this is crucial. You have to know your numbers, and we're not going to go into that today, like I said earlier on, but you have to know who and why they're spending money with you. You have to understand why people decide they wanted to buy from you. I know it seems redundant. We talk about this a lot, and we'll talk about a lot more, but there's a specific reason people choose you. And it's probably not based on price because you're probably not the low hanging fruit or the lowest price service provider in your market. I had my buddy John Burdick on one time. He's one of the highest service providers. I will not get into his job average because I won't disclose that that's his business, but I could tell you it's high and it's probably more than double of mine, and I have a decent job average. Um, he is doing work for the elite of the elite because they respect his workmanship. They respect his job. They respect him in the house. Above all, and I've been out with John, and John does an incredible job. He does a beautiful job, and customers love him like you've never seen a service provider do. I'm serious. He's an anomaly when it comes to this, but they're paying him for the experience they're having with John and purchasing his business. And that's why I'm going to say, out of all these podcast recordings I've recently done, he's been number one. He's bounced around a little bit, but he comes back to number one because people want to know how somebody succeeds and how they over deliver on their service. Even the people listen to this podcast want to know and learn from somebody that's successful at doing something they may not be currently doing. Part of your business profit and loss, knowing which customers you want to take on, which customers are going to help build your business, and which customers are clearly not. You have to develop a sound business model. This is a little bit of the financial end of it, but you have to develop a model. So one of the things I talk about a lot in podcasts is putting your business plan together. Now, you think, I don't want to do all this. I don't want to put this whole long winded business plan together with 8 pages about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, and rah, 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 and all that stupid shit. Listen, you should write out a plan once a year of what you want to do. I'm telling you, this is a successful business model, has made millions and millions and millions of dollars. And over the years, I think about it and I write it down. Well over $20 million worth of revenue has been produced by either the company I owned or I managed on these basic principles. You got to have a sound business model. And you got to take and put that business plan together for 1 year and say, this is my short-term plan. There's long-term, which is, 3 to 5 years, and there's short-term. Let's worry about short-term right now. Let's not worry about the long-term stuff. Short-term, you say, I want to do this in the period of a year. This is what I want to do. But in the process of that, things change. Variables happen. Things happen. Life happens. Why would I decide to change? Well, you should change it every quarterly. You should take your plan and modify it every quarter. Not changing the whole plan. You're going to do the thing for 1 year, just like I talked about, but you're going to modify it every single quarter. So a change is not a great choice of words. You're going to modify your plan every quarter. You're going to make it a little bit different. You're going to change it and go, okay, I think this would work better doing this way. Let's try this. We see our numbers. Again, the financial P&L side is saying we're doing a lot more, or let's say new installs when you're dealing with an HVAC business. We're selling a lot more commercial paint jobs. We seem to be doing much better in those sectors. That's where you make those little tweaks and changes and modifications to your business plan, to your sound business model. You want to make sure you define those things. You want to make sure you break those things down and say, this is what's working. And you modify those things every quarter on your 1 year plan. Okay. It's always good to have a 3 to 5 year plan. You want to do it. You do it for a bank to get a loan. You certainly should do it for your business and not worry about what a bank thinks. You shouldn't do that. If it's not written down, it's not put into place, you're not going to do it. Listen to those words. Listen to these words again. If you don't put it down on paper or on something, you don't have something to hold your feet to the fire, you're never going to do it. Ever going to do it. I don't care how disciplined you are and structured. If you don't put it down on paper, you will not do it. I learned this strategy from Brian Tracy years ago, way before I ever went to business for myself. But it really kicked and applied when I finally had my own money on the line, making things work. That if I didn't plan it out, I was playing to fail. I got a guest coming up that I can't wait. And I got to mention this one. His name is Howard Partridge, and he has a book called FTI. And you see the book behind, The Thank You Economy, because I can't wait to have him on. I've known Howard for a number of years, and I've had a lot of my own staff go out to his facility in outside of Houston, Sugar Land, Texas. And it's freaking awesome from what they tell me. I've seen pictures and I've seen them tell me, but the feedback I get from technicians when they got there, again, it's the experience they're having. It's the feedback they have from this. Now, Howard runs one of the highest end residential commercial carpet cleaning companies, in particular residential. That's his really niche, high end customers in Houston. Now, you might think, what's the big deal in Houston? Well, if you're in Houston, you know the big deal. And if you're not in Houston, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Most people think millionaires per capita are going to be Los Angeles, New York, Chicago. Maybe not Chicago so much, but no offense to Chicago. Miami, Houston. Houston has more millionaires per capita than anybody else in the country. At least it has for the last 25 years. It may change at some point. It may alter a little bit. You may think that's crazy, Rob. Los Angeles has to have more. I will tell you, Houston has a lot of money. It has money from various resources, natural resources, and other resources, but it's a great business. It's become a great business hub. He knows this. He markets because of that. He has the best clients in his market, and he charges an extreme amount of money, but they know they're getting the best service they can get. So understand that people purchase from you based on your business P&L. And again, it has nothing to do with financials, but it has everything to do with financials, because if you want to make financial gain, you want to grow your business, you want to really build something up that is unique to you, you have to have these plans and things in place. You have to have these things down. You have to have them written down. You have to be able to implement these things. Howard's going to get an implementation later this month. We're going to talk to him. And again, I'm really stoked to have him on the podcast because he has a wealth of information and, more importantly, experience from nothing. I love people like that. I don't love people that maybe have a few $1 million to start with, and they may have built something out of it. They may have screwed it up. It doesn't matter. I like the person that started from scratch. I can relate to that, and you can relate to that. That's all part of your business P&L. So guys, I want to thank you so much for being here today. Remember these perspectives when I talk about them, the things that are unique to you. Remember that they need to have a genuine need for your business. They need to know your credible experience. You need to make sure you have the adequate resources and network around you that build your business. You need to make sure the clients and customers you have are the right people for you to get you to where you need to be. You need to know that you have a sound business model of what your business is, and that is a business P&L. When you put all those things in a pie, you have this sheet. And again, if you're on YouTube watching this, you can see this. You have all these variables broken down, and that's your business, my friend. That's what people buy you for. That's what people acquire your business for. If you decide one day, you know what, I have no son or daughter I'm going to leave this to, I'm going to sell the business, retire to wherever the hell you want to retire to. That's awesome. And that's what it's all about. But if you don't have these things in place, you're not going to do it. First of all, they're going to look at your financials and say where you're at. And that's where they're going to give the acquiring um, amount to. However, they're not going to purchase you on this. They're not one drop. They're going to purchase you based on all the things I just talked about and the relationships you have and the return on investment they can get based on those relationships you built, based on the most important part of your business P&L, the life of your business. What is your business, not the financials? If you don't have these things in place, the financials will be irrelevant because they'll never exist. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining me on a brand new episode of Service Without Excuses podcast. I can't thank you enough for all the subscription. Again, I want to thank our sponsor, sotellus.com, the true Cadillac when it comes to reputation management and understanding the emotion of the customers when they love the job you do, when they really bind with you and say, wow, this is amazing. I've got to tell my friends. Well, you can do better than that. You don't have to wait for them organically to tell their friends. They can do it through video. They could do it through messages. They could do it through texting. They could do it through a variety of things. Sotellus.com/Rob M. Lyon. At sotellus.com/Rob M. Lyon. You will actually get a great deal from them. They will take care of you. Make sure you mention my name, and you will be very, very well taken care of. Guys, thanks again. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon. I got another great guest. Again, Larry from The Experience is coming on. If you're in the cleaning and restoration business, which many of our listeners are, you'll get a ton of information. Big trade show coming up in Charleston, South Carolina. Can't wait to go. I'm going to be there doing a bunch of podcast recordings of all things. Can you believe it? And talking to a bunch of different people. So I can't wait for it. I'm actually stoked and excited, like you can't imagine, to meet all these unbelievably talented entrepreneurs that are putting on the line every day and making a difference. Thanks so much. Enjoy your evening.